Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the AFA ACCA joint webinar, Bring AI Technology to Bear. My name is Monica Nabilia from AFA Secretariat, and I'll be your MC for today's session. I would like to greet our honorable guest, Bapak Januarto Alamsyah, AFA Executive Director, Bapak Auki Pratama, Regional Lead Public Affairs Asia Pacific FCCA, our speaker and panelist for today, Dian Hezekiah, Policy and Insight Manager Asia Pacific FCCA, Chong, Audit Partner HLB Atrede, Professor Dr. David Asirvatham, Chair of MIA Digital Technology Implementation Committee, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen from around Southeast Asia countries. It is a great pleasure for AFA and ACCA to host this insightful webinar on artificial intelligence, a topic that continues to transform the future of the accountancy profession. Today's session brings together experts and thought leaders who will share their perspective on how AI is shaping the profession, driving innovation, and creating new opportunities to the accountant across the region. Without further ado, let us begin our program by a warm welcome from AFA Executive Director, Bapak Januarto Alamsyah. The screen is yours.
A very good day to all our distinguished guests, ACCA members, our colleagues and professional partners joining us today for this crucial webinar, ACCA and AFA AI webinar, Bringing AI Technology to Bear. It is my distinct pleasure as the Executive Director of the ASEAN Federation of Accountants, or AFA, to warmly welcome you. I must first express sincere appreciation for the strong, vital collaboration with our partners at the ACCA. This joint effort is a testament to our sheer belief that the future of the accountant profession, not just in ASEAN but globally, is undeniably intertwined with artificial intelligence. Today, we stand at an inflection point. The question is no longer if AI will impact us, but how we as finance professionals will harness its power to drive greater value and sustainable growth. For us, at AFA Technology, digitalization, and now AI have been at the very forefront of our agenda. We recognize that the sheer diversity of our member countries in ASEAN means we must tailor our support to ensure a seamless digital transition for everyone. Our commitment is evidenced by the foundational research we have undertaken. Back in 2020, our report, ASEAN SMPs, a report on technological competency skills, highlighted the specific challenges and knowledge gaps faced by small and medium practices, the backbone of our regional economies as they began their journey. This work was built upon just last year with our report on technology adoption by the accountancy profession in ASEAN countries, which underscored the urgent need for all accountants to adapt and adopt. Our practical initiatives, such as the ongoing ASEAN SMP webinar series covering automation, apps, and AI, are directly aimed at providing our SMPs with the tools and knowledge to thrive. We believe that by lifting the digital capacity of our regional firms, we secure the future stability of the entire Asian accountancy profession. And this is precisely why our partnership with ACCA is so valuable. ACCA brings a global depth of insight and expertise, exemplified by their incredible AI Monitor series. These reports are essential reading for any finance professional aiming to navigate the new landscape, from how is AI reshaping finance and accounting work to providing guidance on understanding AI risks and unraveling AI's role in sustainability. ACCA is not just observing the digital world, they are helping to define the essential competencies needed to succeed within it. Their focus on the talent implications, such as the skills to drive responsible AI adoption, perfectly complements our regional efforts. So this collaboration between AFA and ACCA is fundamentally about delivering a single, powerful message to all our members. AI is a tool to enhance, not replace your skills. Our goal is simple: to inspire and equip you to shift your identity from the traditional number cruncher to the strategic value-added advisor and data analyst. We are confidently assuring you that automation will contract routine processing, but this will only increase the demand for the roles that require true human capital, critical thinking, ethical judgment, strategic oversight, and human connection. This is the essence of the thinking accountant. Through our joint efforts and with ACCA's commitment to providing resources like the Digital Accountant Report and their dedicated AI Resource Hub, we are clarifying where your new expertise lies: governance, risk, and ethical leadership. We are positioning the finance professional as the central to digital transformation agenda. So the responsibility for driving this change requires exceptional thought leadership, and we are fortunate to have an incredible panel of the experts here today. Leading our discussion, we have Dean Hezekiah, Policy and Insight Manager, Asia Pacific at ACCA, Chong, FCCA, Audit Partner at HLB Atrede, and my esteemed colleague, Professor Dr. David Asirvatham, Chair of the MIA Digital Technology Implementation Committee. I encourage you to absorb the insights, challenge your thinking, prepare to bring AI technology to bear in your own firms and organizations. Thank you again for joining us. Let's begin this exciting journey. Over to you,
Thank
Monica.
you. Yeah, thank you, Pak Toto, for your warm welcome. Next, I would like to invite Bapak Auki Pratama, the Regional Lead Public Affairs Asia Pacific SCCA, to deliver his remarks. The screen is yours.
Yes, thank you, Monica, AFA council members, the member organizations, and of course, executive of the secretariat, including Pak Toto. Thank you, Pak, for that generous recognition of our role in championing the AI agenda, especially in ASEAN. ACCA members, our distinguished experts, our participants, the accountants, practitioners, professionals, academic students, joining from different parts of ASEAN and I believe beyond as well today. So Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, selamat siang, good afternoon. A very warm welcome to today's webinar from Jakarta, Indonesia. First of all, on behalf of ACCA, let me begin by expressing our appreciation, of course, to AFA for partnering once again with ACCA in hosting this important conversation. And as a proud associate member of AFA, ACCA is deeply committed to working together across ASEAN to champion and facilitate regional dialogue on key issues shaping our profession, and none more topical today than artificial intelligence or AI. It's hard to believe that, 3 years have passed since ChatGPT publicly burst onto the scene, and technology has advanced at an astonishing pace, with models now demonstrating domain-level mastery and tackling complex tasks with finesse. Yet, despite these breakthroughs, the benefits of AI are still not reaching everyone, often not because of the technology itself, but because of gaps in adoption, trust, skills, and regulation. So that's why the conversations like today's are so important. At SCCA, our policy work is clear. We advocate for regulating the outcomes of technology, not its technical features, because innovation moves too quickly for prescriptive rules. So we also emphasize ethics, transparency, and bias mitigation, reminding ourselves that while machines can process, humans must remain accountable. And we continue to stress the importance of building digital, data, and ethical skills in our profession. So accountants are equipped not just to use AI, but to guide its responsible and impactful application. We are fortunate today to hear from three excellent speakers. Of course, what Pak Toto has mentioned earlier, Professor Dr. David Asirvatham, Mr. Chong, and our very own Dean Hezekiah. And together they will explore the opportunities, challenges, and responsibilities AI brings to our work as finance professional. I certainly look forward to learning from their sharing and would like to urge you to actively participate in the discussion as well by asking questions via the chat functions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after today, I invite you to visit ACCA's resource page, where you'll find further thought leadership on AI, as well as on other critical issues shaping our profession, such as sustainability, talent, trade, and the future of finance, among other things. I trust that you will enjoy today's session and leave with both inspiration and practical insights. Stay tuned for our next series of webinar with AFA on another important topic later this year. And allow me to once again thank AFA for the collaboration and our experts for their time to be with us today. Let us take the learnings from today and turn them into action. Let us continue to be bold, to be responsible, and above all, to think ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Oki, for your warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to read the housekeeping rules for our discussion today. Ladies and gentlemen, presenter, panelists, and participant, please kindly keep your microphone on mute unless you are invited to speak. Participant, please post your question via Zoom chat throughout the entire session. This question will be addressed during our discussion. Please kindly refrain from using the raise hand function. Participant, please complete our post-event survey and provide your feedback to our webinar today. A link to the survey will be provided to you towards the end of the webinar, and this webinar is being recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us start our discussion today, bringing AI technology to bear. The session will be delivered by our speaker and also panelist, Mr. Dean Hezekiah, a Policy Insight Manager, Asia Pacific FCCA, Mr. T. Chong Yu, Audit Partner of HLB Atrede, and Professor Dr. David Asirvatham, Chair MIA Digital Technology Implementation Committee. Before we go to the panel discussion, I will hand over the session to Dean Hezekiah, the Policy and Insight Manager Asia Pacific FCCA, to deliver his presentation. To Dean, the session is yours.
Thank you, Monica, for that warm introduction. And just want to reiterate ACCA's thanks to AFA on this inspiring partnership, which we deeply value and cherish. And it's really exciting to see what we're doing together. I'm incredibly fortunate to be sharing a few reflections on AI today. My name is Dean Hezekiah, and I support ACCA's thought leadership work. Over the next few moments, I'll share a presentation titled Bringing AI Technology to Bear. This presentation is divided into two parts. The first part will explore three pillars for leveraging AI technology from ACCA's policy and insights work. And in the second part, we'll unpack some trends in AI use today. This will be followed by our panel discussion covering several themes, such as real-world use case applications, the skills needed, and tips for navigating the challenges that come with AI. I'll be sharing my screen now. I hope we can all see my screen. All right. So to start off, let's explore some pillars for leveraging AI technology through a couple of stories from ACCA's Smart Alliance report. Now, first, we're going to look at an AI implementation strategy of a global IT company. This implementation strategy freed up capacity within the finance team of this company, enabling a 200-strong finance team to focus on more decision-making, while over 300 bots managed repetitive tasks. So to achieve this, the company had a three-pronged approach to AI implementation, which I'm going to talk through now. In the first instance, an in-house version of ChatGPT was used for process-driven productivity across various departments, including finance. Secondly, Microsoft Copilot was used for personal productivity. And finally, GitHub Copilot was employed for software development and coding tasks. So looking at this journey, we can see that different AI tools were paired with their best use cases. And that's an important feature of getting AI successful implementation right. One thing to call out here is the use of the technology to augment human capabilities. You'll notice these tools are not tools that necessarily replace human beings, but they essentially allow human beings to do more. So that's an important detail to bear in mind. Now, given the extent of this three-pronged approach to their AI strategy rollout, employees would have had to acquire certain skills to leverage the new tools. For this reason, upskilling existing staff played an important and significant role to the successful rollout of the AI transformation journey. Let's take a look at the skills development approach that was adopted here. First of all, the company utilized mandatory training. Everyone in the finance team took part in training programs focused on generative AI. Secondly, the organization implemented tiered learning. The training was customized based on the different roles. General users were given basic training, while technical users who were a bit more advanced in their expertise were given more advanced training, and they were able to support others from a center of excellence hub. Thirdly, there was ongoing training, ongoing learning was a point of emphasis. Each person is expected to spend 40 hours at this company on self-development. Now that's a full work week to put things in context. Initiatives like quiet days also gave people focused time to switch off and focus on their learning. Now, there's another feature that I'd like to call out in this implementation journey, the use of AI champions. A few team members were selected for deeper training in areas like prompt engineering, Python programming, and others, so they were able to sort of galvanize the rest of their team and encourage people, effectively acting like catalysts, if you will. Now, from the above, we can see that the company took a very considered approach to the skills development aspect of their AI transformation journey. Quiet days for ongoing learning, mandatory Gen AI training, and the selection of AI champions, all of these factors clearly communicate to employees that the need to develop new skills is not just encouraged, but it's also prioritized and accommodated. In the next example, we'll explore the critical role of change management in the AI transformation process. So here's the next example, Sleep Country, Canada. Now, just so you're aware, both of these examples are drawn from ACCA's Smart Alliance report, which is available on our website. Coming back to the presentation, Sleep Canada is the next example. It's a Canadian retail company with annual revenues approximately $1 billion. Now, they embarked on an ambitious project to transform their accounts payable department using AI and automation. The solution incorporated optical character recognition and machine learning technology in the coding of invoices. The result? The transformation yielded significant improvements. Prior to the AI implementation, the accounts payable department was inundated with manual sorting and coding of paper invoices. This was time-consuming, and they had to spend a lot of time entering data, which limited their availability to perform analytical high-level tasks. The new system automated invoice capture and processing and dramatically improved the accuracy of invoice routing. This freed up staff capacity, and they were able to do other value-added tasks such as production of aging reports, performing vendor analysis, and just improved cash flow management and forecasting for better day-to-day running of the enterprise. Let's explore some of the details of their approach to change management specifically. The project team included stakeholders from accounts payable, accounting, IT, and even consultants from the beginning of the project. This cross-functional approach ensured that all aspects of the process were considered, from technical implementation to accounting and the accuracy of use to accounting and accuracy and user adoption. But it also had another crucial benefit, which is important to call out. From this, we see that the company involved the accounts payable team from the start. This created the conditions for user acceptance, as the accounts payable team was the main user of this AI transformation journey. Another tactical feature of the company's approach was that they started out with foundational projects. These projects had a high likelihood of success and a clear and visible return on investment. This helped to build credibility for future technology investments. The final feature of the change management approach, which we want to call out from this story, is that the implementation process was quite comprehensive, and it actually took an extended period of time, over 3 years, to fully execute and fine-tune. Now, this is important because it allowed sufficient time to learn, pivot, and handle any issues that came up. Allowing this time is important because allowing for sufficient time is an important part of change management. This is because when stakeholders feel like they're being rushed, there's a risk that they might resist the change that's being implemented. So allowing enough time is an important feature that we want to stop and observe. So from these two studies, we can see how AI can be implemented to augment human capabilities. We can also see how the approach to upskilling and change management intentionally and tactfully can be used to drive AI strategy implementation. To conclude this presentation, I want to share some trends in Gen AI use. I'll be focusing on ChatGPT, arguably the most widely used Gen AI tool at the moment. I'm sure you'll agree with that assessment. The insights come from a September 2025 paper published in the National Bureau of Economics Research, a reputable economics journal. You can find this on their website as well. The paper is written by OpenAI's economic research team and Harvard economist David Deming. Its title, How People Use ChatGPT. Now let's explore some of the key insights from this paper. ChatGPT launched in November 2022. By July 2025, 18 billion messages were being sent each week by 700 million users, representing around 10% of the global adult population. This chart is a chart of weekly active users over time. To further put that number of 700 million weekly active users into perspective, in 2022, the combined population of ASEAN member states reached 676.6 million. Now that's from the ASEAN Key Figures Report of 2024. I'll take that again. To further put that number of weekly active users into perspective, in 2023, the combined population of ASEAN member states reached 676.6 million. And that's from the ASEAN Key Figures Report. It'll be a bit more by now. Now, this means that the weekly active users of ChatGPT globally is approximately matched by the combined population of ASEAN member states. So you might be wondering, what are 700 million people asking ChatGPT? Well, let's find out. The report segments chat queries into 3 categories. Asking queries relate to seeking information. A typical query could be, what was the inflation rate last year? Doing queries are messages requesting ChatGPT to perform tasks. For example, rewrite this email and make it a bit more formal. The third query type is expressing, and these are queries that don't fall into any of the above categories, be it asking or doing. Now, looking at the far right of your screen, we see that doing tasks make up the majority of use cases for work-related messages at almost 56%. Now, this tells us something important. This tells us that employees are actively using ChatGPT at work to support their work in direct and actionable ways. This is followed by asking queries at 35% and expressing queries at 9%. So this is a really interesting breakdown of what people are using ChatGPT for at the workplace. Looking at the rest of the chart, we get a sense of what people are asking ChatGPT for. Quite literally and metaphorically, we have a lot more color to understand what's going on. Not surprisingly, writing is by far the most common use case at almost 42%. This is followed by practical guidance at 24%. Practical guidance relates to things like how to advise, tutoring or teaching, and creative ideation. Moving on. Technical help and seeking information are also significant use cases around the 12 to 13% mark. Technical help involves use cases like maths and calculation and data analytics. I think we've all been using ChatGPT to write. If anything, it feels like this report quite simply makes it official. That brings us to the end of this presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Really grateful for your time, your attention, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it and presenting it to you. All right. Now that we are at the end of the presentation, just bear with me while I transition over. We will go over to the panel discussion that we have scheduled for you. And at this stage, I will invite the panelists to come on camera and introduce themselves. If it's okay, I can start with yourself, Chong.
Right, sure. Thanks, Dean, for that. So quick introduction, not going to take too much time. I am Chong Yu. I am an audit partner in HLB Atrede. We are one of the top 8 accounting networks in the world, based in Singapore at the moment. So beside being an audit partner, I'm also a part-time lecturer in Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. So one of the autonomous universities in Singapore, teaching the subject data analytics in audit and accounting. And I'm also currently a board member of a non-profit in Singapore, Free Pumpkins. So if you are interested in how NGOs champion children causes, right? I think that will be something that you guys can check it out. And I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah. So in my previous life, I think I have led data analytics team in the Big Four, right? And I have since transition back to my bread and butter back in the days, back in audit. So I think my perspective in any of the questions that Dean has to ask will be rather different, right, from people who transition from a traditional role to the data role and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a quick introduction about myself, Dean.
Thank you, Chong Yu, and yourself, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm David. I'm David Asirvatham. I'm a professor at the Asia School of Business. So Asia School of Business is owned by Bank Negara, and this is in collaboration with the MIT. Here I work as a professor of AI, so I conduct a lot of AI programs for CEOs, C-suite, and senior managements of banks, of corporate companies, etc. Prior to that, I was involved in 4 other universities. I worked in University Technology Mara, followed by Multimedia University, then University Malaya, and then finally Taylor's University. At Multimedia University, I was the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. So when Multimedia University was constructed, so I was responsible for setting up all the ICT services at Cyberjaya campus. Then I moved on to University Malaya, where I did a lot of digital transformation, converting legacy system to a digital automation. Then at Taylor's University, I played slightly a different role, more on the academic side, where I became the executive dean, looking after 4 schools, that is engineering, computer science, architecture, and design. And I'm also an academician. I've published more than 70 work papers, and I've graduated 12 PhD students as of now. And also involved in many activities. I was also responsible for I'm the chair for the ICT Human Capital Development under the 11th Malaysia Plan. I'm currently the chair for the Digital Technology Implementation Committee with the MIA, and many more. Right, there's a long list. So yeah, that's my background.
Thank you so much, Prof, for giving us that introduction, and thank you. Thank you to the both of my my esteemed panelists for joining us today and lending us their insight, their perspective, their wisdom. Really excited to dig into the conversation with our panelists today. To kick things off, Chong Yu, if I can start with yourself, and we'll just start with a general scene setting question here. What are some practical AI applications that you're currently seeing in your workplace and that of other organizations? Generally speaking, what are you what use cases are you aware of? We've seen from the previous chart the three different buckets that the paper puts AI use into, but what practical uses are you seeing on the day-to-day basis? Go ahead.
So this is both an easy and difficult question, right? Because there's so many ways that AI can be used, really. There's really no limit to how it can be used. But just speaking from experience, right? In the space of accountancy, or in my case, public accountancy, one of the things that you can do very simply, right? Using Gen AI, right? Conducting client due diligence is something that you can do, right? So in the past, need to run it through a certain platform. Right now, there is a possibility for you to just quickly run a background search on your new clients, for example, right? And with Gen AI right now, it does pull you the latest information that is available, from the internet, from public sources, and let you know whether there's actually any reputational risk when you onboard this client. Now, but one thing that I have to caution, right, as you embark on this journey, is that you have to be very skeptical when it comes to reviewing what Gen AI is telling you, or AI is telling you. So in my very own experience, and I learned from this episode quite a lot. So this was in the early days of Gen AI, right? So just curious to know how powerful Gen AI is, right? When there was a prospective, client that was knocking on our doors, asking for quotation and things like that. First thing that you do is client due diligence, right? So Gen AI was all the rage back then. So I was just trying this out, just putting in that company's name. And what happened was that it actually generated, some insights that says that, look, this particular prospect, right, is actually involved in a recent oil spill in Singapore, right? And it actually quoted sources for that as well. So this is probably the later days where it now begin to quote sources as well. So accountant being accountant, right? You go and verify the source, right? And you check the headline title, right? It really seems to suggest that, that company was involved in the oil spill. But upon looking into more details, you begin to realize that Gen AI has actually made its own assumption, right? What that company was involved in is actually not the oil spill itself. It was involved in the cleaning up of the oil spill as part of a CSR activity, corporate social responsibility activity. What AI has interpreted that as is that logically, if a company cleans up all this sort of mess, it is responsible, right, in causing the spill in the first place. So it has made the assumption that because, that company is cleaning up, the oil spill, right, it is actually involved in the particular, environmental incident. So that is actually one learning point that we really have to be skeptical when evaluating results coming out from AI. Dean, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just expressing so much surprise at that use case. Gen AI, the Gen AI tool clearly just associated cleaning up with guilt and responsibility, and said to you, this company has actually been involved in an oil spill. And so that association wasn't even clear. Their role in the cleanup wasn't clarified.
Yeah,
I think
it does make assumption in the absence of information. So I think as accountants,
sure.
I think that's what we are trained to do, right? And just to quote something that was cited in Business Times in Singapore recently, right? Chartered accountants ranked as the second most trusted profession in Singapore, right after doctors, right? So I think whatever it is that we are doing and relying on Gen AI, whatever tech, in doing our work, be it in the public sector, in the private sector, I think trust is of paramount importance. So I think we still have value that we can add into this ecosystem, even in the whole, entire evolving world of AI and technology. So yeah, that'll be my example, Dean.
That's truly fascinating, Chunyu. Thanks for sharing that. Wow, yeah. It's such an interesting one. It's definitely one I'm going to keep in my back pocket, just to remind myself of the need for professional skepticism at all times. Now coming to you, Professor David, based on your assessment, what specific skills would you suggest that employers and educators provide to focus on building the workplace for the future? And closely linked to this, are there any non-AI skills that should be added to that list? We'll probably add professional skepticism, which Chong Yu has just mentioned. Any other skills or approaches, broadly speaking, Professor, to skills development?
Yeah. Okay. What I think organizations need to take into account is a strategic approach to skill development rather than piecemeal approach. So, for example, I think of the first thing that the organizations need to do is that develop an organizational AI competency framework. Number one, I think first you need to understand the current competency skill, AI competency skills within the organization. So you need to do an assessment. Based on the assessment, you identify the gaps, that is required. Then you will move on to map the jobs with the AI skills. So, for example, if you take an HR executive, what AI skills do they need to ensure they complete their task effectively or improve their productivity? Similarly, if you take the finance people, what kind of skills they need? So you need to identify all the skill gaps and the skill mapping for each and every job within your organization. Once this is identified, then we can do the scoping of the AI skills that is required. So we can develop a sort of some kind of a curriculum, that is required to bridge this gap. So once this is you've identified the curriculum, then the implementation. Of course, the implementation is always the challenge, right? To get everybody to upskill, right? So there must be a consensus effort to ensure that this implementation is carried out effectively to ensure every staff, every employee has the necessary AI skills. Right. So that's basically how you should approach it. And a lot of companies, when I talk to, they said, "Oh, we don't have a budget." Well, I think budget, there are different ways to look at it. Is AI a priority for your company, for your organization? If it is yes, I think you need to allocate a budget for that, because you are allocating money for various purpose, right? If you say you're allocating the budget for various other purpose, but not AI, then AI is not priority for your organization, right? So that need to take into account. Having said that, there are also other source of funding available. Especially in Malaysia, for example, we have the Human Resource Development Corporation, where we get you can get some funding for AI training for your staff. There's Talent Corp and some of the other sources. So there's also external funding besides your internal funding. But I think it's also, as I mentioned, it's important for every company to allocate some internal funds for your AI skills. Now, it's not only skills. I think the tools also need to be made available. For example, if your staff, can they access the ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, whatever models they want to use? Have they got access? Have they got the paid version? Right. So these are things that have to be taken into account. So just to answer the other part, where non-AI skills, of course, there are a lot of non-AI skills which is also important, like complex problem solving, creativity, communication, critical thinking. These are essential for all your staff. So those will be the non-AI skills. The AI skills, of course, will look into the understanding of AI, the impact of AI, the trends that are coming up, AI models, the science of AI. I mean, there's many areas. So again, as I said, we have to map this to the job task and then find out what are the necessary skills in AI. So these are some of the things that companies will have to look into.
Thank you so much, Professor David. Those are very important points, and I think one thing that I'm taking away is the fact that organizations need to actually be structured and strategic in their approach. Ask yourself key questions. Is AI important to us? If yes, do a gap analysis, do an assessment, have clarity. These are very important steps, from an organizational standpoint as well. And that really does segue neatly into the next question for you, Chong Yu. And I'm thinking of organizations now holistically, pivoting from individuals and thinking of organizations. Some organizations are simply better at learning than others, and this is a good thing. What type of attitudes would you say, mindsets and cultural predispositions make for a great learning and teachable organizations? organization. And what are those things that make an organization good at learning? Because the ability to learn as an organization is going to be critical in this moment, isn't it? Go ahead.
Thanks for that, Dean. So, very interestingly, I think my point of view on this is probably rather different. What I've seen, I think, out there, based on speaking to people, speaking to entrepreneurs, speaking to, CEOs of big companies, what is quite interesting is we are at this point of time where it seems that the smaller startups are actually more adept in using AI, in the sense that they are more willing to experiment with the tools that is actually out there. And they are actually they're experimenting more, right, in terms of using AI in their company. And the reason for that is quite interesting in the sense that in these recent years, it seems that access to technology, access to AI has been very much democratized, right? Because right now, anyone, right, can use Gen AI, where in the past, it is probably, when you talk about AI, it can only be used by, companies with big budgets and all that. So right now, as you see smaller startups, start up from scratch, right? They do not have any legacy system that's holding them back. They are more willing to experiment with an AI, so-called AI native approach in terms of solving the problems that their organization is trying to solve. And they, as they are, not bogged down by legacy problems, by a very big structure, I see that smaller organizations tend to use a lot of AI. So there was a recent survey, I think, in the podcast that I was listening to. It's a very different sort of reaction when it comes to using AI between your founder setup, so solopreneur, if you will, probably with a small team of people, and where you actually have to do a lot of things by yourself, right? And you do not have the ability when you're starting up to hire a lot of people to do a lot of all these things. So they are experimenting with a lot of tools out there, right? Because right now you basically have Gen AI tools that's able to help you with content creation, for example, video creation, for example, that you don't have to hire paid actors or whatever to do it. You maybe have to pay a certain subscription fee, and you can get all these up and running. So interestingly for me is that it has kind of shifted a little bit, because right now with smaller setups, right, they may be going all in, right, in testing out this AI. But there also lies, I think, some of the risks as well, which I think we can talk about later. So I think the very important thing, the key takeaway thing from this is, the experimentation sort of mindset is very important. And for some of these smaller startup, is actually really make or break in terms of their business, because they have to get things running and they may not have the budget to hire full-time resources to do some of these things. And the alternative to that is to set up processes from the very beginning, right? To be driven by AI. So that is my point of view, really. And of course, I think one important point that Prof David brought up as well, right, in terms of budget and all that. One approach that organizations should also have, right, is whatever that they are doing is something that's very traditional, right? Although we are talking about AI, we are talking about technology, something that keeps cropping up as we talk about implementation and adoption, integration of AI. I think it all boils down to the business case, right? Whatever that you're doing, even as you're experimenting, you have to have the end in mind. What is it that you're trying to achieve organizationally from what you are doing, and track your returns towards that, right? So as one fights for budget, right, I think that is very important, right? If there's board or CEOs who needs to approve that budget, they need to know what is really in it, for the organization. So I think in terms of that mindset, both experimentation and be pragmatic about it in terms of what it can deliver to you as an organization, I think both of these are actually very important. You have to really balance that out. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that reflection, Cheng Yu. I think that's a powerful takeaway. And just to recap on that real quick, I think it's an important thing to just double click on sometimes. The need to just have an experimenting mindset. Because like you said, it's something that we see a lot more in the startup community, in the startup culture, because they don't have any any way of doing things to be true to. So they make their own way. But as part of that process, they actually have to learn on the fly. A lot of larger organizations may already have systems, processes, and policies, if you may, both formal and otherwise. So I guess the trick is just trying to foster that experimentation and learning culture. But to the other point you made, actually, double clicking on Prof's earlier point, just approaching it strategically, asking key questions, and moving forward with it. Now, the next question I want to ask brings into focus, another aspect of organizations leveraging AI. And Prof, this one goes to you. As organizations look to master this technology meaningfully, they're going to have to make some big bets, some significant bets. So my question is, what does that look like? What strategic bets can organizations start making now in order to reap those benefits in the future?
Okay, that's an interesting question. What bets? Okay, yeah, I think I will look at it from the strategic AI bet. If you ask me, number one will be the bet on AI upskilling for your employees. Okay, you need to ensure your employees are upskilled in the AI competency area. So that just now I talked about it. Okay, how you should approach it. So that's key number one. Number two is that you have to make the AI tools available to your employees. I think some organization that I've met some people in the organizations that they don't allow the management doesn't allow them to use AI tools, and you know what happens when they don't allow them to use their tools? They use their personal account to access their AI tools, and they pay for it. And because it makes their job much more easier, they continue to use this tool. There is a misunderstanding of how AI works, because one of the things that many companies will tell is that a model, they think that that piece of document is made available to the public, but that's not true. That's not how AI models work. AI models don't have a database like what you see for other systems. So when you train an AI model, the information is diffused into the neural network model. Just like our brain, when we train, when we learn, the data is diffused into all our brain cells. We cannot pinpoint, for example, where is the information about a dog or about a cat or about an elephant stored in our brain. Similarly, when we train the AI model, the information is diffused. And on the second thing, that is when you upload a document, whether it's on Google or whether it's in OpenAI or Microsoft, these companies are big companies and they need to conform to the copyright requirements, data protection requirements. If they infringe those rules, then they are subject to be sued by many people. So these are the understanding. Having said that, right, just like any other IT systems, there is a vulnerability to security, and you must ensure security is taken care when you implement AI solutions in your company. That's important. So, but the uploading a document to an AI model doesn't mean that it's made available, but you must take care of all the security issues anyway. The third bet I would say is the digital transformation for your organization. Do you have a plan? What is that you want to achieve? Are you going to re-engineer the process? Are you going to redesign products? Now, AI will come in a such a way that it's not about just upgrading your systems. I think what will happen is it's going to disrupt and completely change the way you are working today. And all the processes, a lot of the processes will get disrupted, and you need to completely change. And maybe even products need to be redesigned, especially in the software industry, right? So that's going to happen, right? So in the digital transformation, is the third bet. And the last bet but not least, is the bet on AI-driven leadership. The leaders of the organization must be aware of the AI technology. All right, they must ensure they promote and encourage and push the organization to adopt AI throughout their process. So these are some of the bets that I would think is important for an organization.
That's really fascinating. Four significant things that organizations can think through in terms of their decision making. Bet on your employees. Invest in the tools. Have a plan.
Yeah.
And invest in the right leadership, AI-driven leadership. I think these are powerful ideas to work with, and they could potentially frame organizations as they think through how they approach AI in meaningful ways. Between the two of us, Prof, don't tell anyone I said this. The most exciting bet here is, for me, is to bet on your employees. I think that's one bet that really, really does excite me. But the other ones are just as critical. Staying with you, Prof, if I may, bullish or not? Are you bullish or skeptic about AI? What is your predisposition on the subject of AI, Prof?
I'm I'm a technology guy. I am bullish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think I've been working, as I say, I've been involved. I worked on AI models in 1990 when I was in UK at that time studying my master's. So I developed the AI model. At that point of time, the computing power was not there, not enough sufficient data, and many other issues. So today we have those things, and that's why AI is so powerful. Let me also explain to you that AI is not a tool. It's here to augment your job, number one. Number two, AI is not a program. AI is built, mimicked from the human brain using the neural network. In other words, AI is not written as if this is the condition, execute this. No, it doesn't work that way. It actually works from the base of a human brain, similar format. So what is going to happen is that you will see a huge exponential growth in the AI models over the next 3 to 5 years. Initially, they talked about artificial super intelligence. So we have artificial narrow intelligence, we have artificial general intelligence, then artificial super intelligence, just for those students who are here. So we are probably at just past stage 1, narrow intelligence, and moving towards general intelligence. What do you mean by general intelligence? General intelligence means the AI models are able to behave similar to what humans can do, right? So we are almost reaching that. The next phase is super intelligence. So AI models will be far more intelligent than humans. What happens when because initially they predict that this super intelligence model will come in 2050, but three weeks ago, Elon Musk said that it'll be here in 2 to 3 years. So I don't know. I mean, so you can see that the super intelligent. What happens when the super intelligent machines come in? They will take control a lot of things. So if you look at some of the YouTube articles by Jeffrey Hilton, he's the godfather of AI. He says that definitely they will be more smarter and they will take control. And this is why I said we're going to witness a huge tsunami that's coming within the next 5 years or so, that will impact every single industry and transform a lot of that. So a lot of the tasks will be done by AI, and humans, it will come a point where AI will think that it is able to manipulate us, right? In that sense, right? Why? Because they're much more intelligent. Always the more intelligent, animals always, rule the less intelligence. So that will come to a stage. But whether we will reach that, whether we will set ethical guidelines, we will have regulatories to control them, like Europe has established a what they call a EU AI Act, to ensure that this doesn't happen. So there are guidelines, but some people believe that it will, even if you have the rules, it will still happen. So that's why, okay, I mean, I'm talking about what could happen and what could happen in 5 years' time. At the same time, the pragmatic side is that implementation. I think on the implementation side, we are slow. The models are developing very fast, but okay, we take a lot more time and more cautious in terms of implementing it. So that's where we will see a slowdown in the implementation side, and we need to take into account change management. Are people ready for it? Readiness of the organization. Is there sufficient talents and sufficient tools and budget available as well?
Those are really fascinating. That's a lot to work with. Really fascinating thoughts. But yeah, we're knocking on the door. AI is already incredibly capable as it is, and you rightly pointed out, Prof, that it's not about logic, if this then that thinking. It's actually on a different type of architecture, which opens up a raft of possibilities. And you went on to explore the prospect, which a lot of people are talking about.
You see, all the previous technology like blockchain, cloud computing, etc. Those are systems that they don't have the thinking power. They cannot learn. They cannot comprehend. They cannot understand language. But now we have a system that is almost equivalent to what human can do. But let's see. I mean, that's the one end of the the other hand, they think that it will.
It's almost like Armageddon already. End of days. It's getting very scary.
I mean, we are the technology field. We feel scary. We need to implement regulatory. We need to ensure it doesn't take over us in 10 or 20 years. So we need to ensure that.
Yeah, look, that's a hugely important point. Chong, do you want to react to that as well?
I don't know how to react to that, because that is almost like science fiction to me. But obviously, what Prof David is saying is that it's coming to realization sooner than we thought, right? So let's just skip this webinar, because end of day is coming. No, I'm just kidding. So I think from my point of view, really, in terms of whether bullish or skeptic about AI, I think I'm definitely bullish about how the technology is evolving, right? But as Prof David was pointing out as well, my view, being the pragmatic view of it, is really at what cost, right? Because right now it's really a case where when we are using Gen AI, right, the cost that is involved is not so visible to us. Right. So for example, a lot of the ChatGPT users are probably using the free version, right? But as you type the prompt in the chat or whatever, it is not at zero cost, right? Because somewhere at distant, data centers, there'll be compute power that is actually involved. There is actually dollars and cents to that. There's also an environmental cost to that. So my worry is that as we get more entrenched into this whole, AI system, there'll be these global superpowers in the form of people who control this technology, right? Who is going to regulate them, right? So that's the skeptical part of, my mind thinking about this. And also, for organizations, right? Like what I said earlier, startups, right? They don't have a choice, right? They as they reinvent, or rather as they invent their processes, it can be AI native, and it's because AI is actually at a cost that is actually very, very, very budget friendly, right? But it doesn't mean that it will continue to be in the case moving forward, as basically more and more users are going into there. There will come a point, I believe, that in terms of the cost of using AI, right, it's going to be tremendous, right? And you are basically caught in between a rock and a hard place, right? Because you will lose access, for example, to whatever that you have developed in that ecosystem, right? Because everything is now going to be run through AI, agentic AI, what have you. Yet at the same time, you may be held ransom in terms of continuing to subscribe to the technology. So I'm bullish about the technology for sure, but I'm skeptical in terms of the human element behind it, behind people who controls this, how we're actually going to regulate it. That is my concern, really.
Yeah, just to add on to what Chong Yu has mentioned, is that the cost of it is very, very high. Every single prompt that you put in on ChatGPT or Gemini, there is a cost to it. And let me explain what the former CEO of Google, when he addressed the National Congress of US, he said this: "We are ready to build a super intelligence a system, right, that is far beyond a very powerful AI model. But he said, I will need 99% of the world's electricity." Can you imagine? That means the amount of power used by all these AI models.
Wow.
So they can't
That's
build
an
it because
incredible
so what is stopping
amount.
at the moment? What is stopping AI's models to progress is energy. So invest in an
wow.
energy company.
So if we don't have stocks, yeah, that's a good bet, isn't it? Not financial advice, but that's a really interesting thought, you know, the amount of energy draw that AI technologies are taking up. This is turning into such a fascinating conversation, and I think we've touched on some of the risks around AI indirectly. I want to just touch on something that's a bit lighter, a bit tongue-in-cheek. Chong, I might start with you. So tell me about a recent interesting use case that you've had with AI. What are you using it for lately? And how is it interesting to you? What's new with you and your interaction with AI? Go ahead.
So I think it's really part of my daily life, right? Using Gen AI, and that goes without saying, whether it's in the field of our professional work or whether it's in our personal life. On the professional front, right? So right now I'm with a mid-tier firm, right? I think what Gen AI is very useful is when you train it on specific areas in the area of auditing and accounting. For Big Four, for Big Four accounting firms, you usually have a big team of like technical experts in advising you in terms of how you should audit certain complex area, how you should account for a certain complex area. So, but with mid-tier, right, the team is relatively small, right? So what I think this Gen AI has kind of helped, right, in that sense is that you can now treat Gen AI as a sparring partner when it comes to discussing about complex topics in accounting and audit. So I've been using it quite a lot, and I don't take it at face value, right? Because like I said, right, given my experience, I know that it can be wrong. But I've said this before. Actually, when it comes to AI at the moment, or rather Gen AI specifically, it's very good in getting you content, right? But not so great in terms of contextualizing what you're trying to do in your scenario. And probably it's because people do not articulate it well enough in the prompt, right? I guess as you prompt it more, right, it'll give you a more accurate response to you. So that's one of the things that I've been using on the professional front, right? And on the personal front, as I travel a lot, around the world, both for work as well as business, I think ChatGPT has become a go-to when it comes to designing your itinerary, right? In terms of where do you go, right? If I want to compress my schedule to, be this much, how should I do that? But just bear in mind, again, I'm very skeptical sometimes with the response that I get from, ChatGPT as well, because there was once that I was asking ChatGPT. So I was traveling with my elderly parents, right? So my family and I, we were going to Universal Studio, right? So I was asking ChatGPT to design an itinerary that is within walking distance from the hotel, right, where we were staying at. Where can my elderly parents go to? Just within 5 to 10 minutes walk. And ChatGPT suggested something that actually requires them to walk 2 kilometers, right? And in ChatGPT, they say that that's only going to take 5 minutes. And you know why? Because ChatGPT, when they answer that, when I say I want it to be within a certain distance, right, it's measuring it from a radius perspective, right? It's a straight point. This point to this point is 500 meters. It did not consider the fact that in order for you to walk there, right, through the road, it's actually, it takes 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers. So yeah, that's your both on the professional front and the personal front as well.
Yes, so the technology is clearly very capable, but let's keep our skepticism hats on. Isn't that right? Prof, I'll come to you next with this question. So, do you use AI yourself, and what's exciting you in terms of your use case of AI?
So I teach AI, so I have to know a lot of things. I use it for a lot of things. When I use it together with my audience, so for example, I take a profit and loss account for 5 years, all right? And I put it into ChatGPT or Gemini and ask it to create a management report with executive summary, analysis of these specific analysis of areas that I want. What are the recommendations you would put, etc. And it's amazing what you'll get. 5 years of a profit and loss account. Each profit and loss account runs into thousands of lines, and it analyzes in about 10 to 15 minutes with all the graphs, trends, everything. And I double check, it's right. Okay.
That's amazing.
So it's amazing. I mean, so yes, there will be points where, okay, it didn't give me the right answers, but that's less than 5% of the time. Again, if you tune your prompt, you'll get the answers back. So sometimes it's about prompting. The first prompt, it may not understand correctly. You need to prompt a few times. And you can also verify, not manually, through prompts. You cross-check where is your you can ask it to code, where's your reference source for this? It'll indicate that. So in finance and accounting, I think it's great. I mean, there's plenty of analysis. You can put in large Excel sheets, and you don't need a data scientist actually. You can just prompt and it gives you all the things. And even in auditing and fraud detection. At the executive level, today I don't think so anybody takes minutes. The minutes are recorded and automatically transcribed, and the action plans are automatically listed by the AI. So that's another area how the PA's job is taken over. And HR level, I've also looked at what I did is that I put about 10 or 20 CVs of people into the ChatGPT and said, this is my criteria. All right, I list down all the criteria that I want. And then I said, can you shortlist me 3 candidates? And within 10 minutes, you get the 3 candidates with the explanation based on the criteria. So you see what's happening. I mean, so all this, okay, if you take any field, I can show you examples of how AI can be used. And I always challenge my audience. Tell me one area where you cannot use AI in your organization, right? So I can give you an example. Of course, the only area that AI is blue-collar jobs, like plumbers, gardeners. Okay, it's still AI is long way from that until robotics become more stronger. So in the white-collar job, I think a lot of areas it's coming. And if I say all these are just the beginning? We have been using ChatGPT just 2 to 3 years. What happens in another 3 years? What happened in 5 years? So you can imagine.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Prof. That's a really fascinating how far AI has come. HR, getting management reports just from the detailed trial balance. That's really fascinating to see. And I think it's a really great...
Another example, one of my staff is a non-IT person, and she wanted to solve some complex problems. And she wanted to do some graphs, network graphs and all that. And she said, can AI help? I say, yes, AI can help, because you do it through ChatGPT, you don't get the answer. So what you need to do is that ask ChatGPT to write a Python program for you to solve this problem. So she wrote a Python program and told her how to execute it. Now, all the complex problems, she writes Python program and execute it and get the results. And she doesn't know a single line of Python code.
Oh wow, truly fascinating.
Yeah.
I think how capable this technology is continues to astound us. And at this point, I'm actually just looking at some of the questions that have come through, and I think this one is probably a good one to explore for both of you, Chong Yu and Prof. So maybe I'll just throw this one out. Anyone can pick it up. Can AI replace the professional accountant or the profession of accounting?
Yeah.
Any high-level reflections from either of you?
So if I may, right, I think there's two two facets to this, right? Two perspectives to this. I think as an organization and as leaders, we have to be really upfront with, in terms of with our team members, right? In terms of how AI is to be used. So why I say that is because right now there's a lot of messaging out there that AI is actually going to lead to more productive use of your time. Now, the human element of that is what does that mean for me as someone who's already working in the company? One of the things that I think we have to address is that as things get standardized, get automated using AI and technology, where does that leave the people? So when it comes to using AI, right, I think increasingly there is this thing about AI being a digital workforce, especially with the birth of agentic AI. We really need to think about when we are using AI, agentic AI, as we free up the capacity, right, from the time that we previously use our people to do certain things in terms of producing reports. We say that now you are going to, free up 90% of your time, that you previously spent in producing certain reports and things like that. I think as organizations, we have to tell our people really be honest in terms of when this happens, what does it mean to the people, right? And it's when it comes to basically increasing productivity using technology and AI, it basically, there are two components to it. One is you are creating capacity, right? Because from previously spending, let's say 1 hour on this, you have freed up 50 minutes, right? And now he only needs 10 minutes to produce certain things. What happens to the 50 minutes? So from an organization point of view, do you make that stuff redundant? Or are you going to get him to actually do this value-adding stuff? Now, the value-adding stuff is the one that often is put out there, right? It's a politically right thing to say, right? We are freeing your time up to do something that's actually more valuable. I think it has to be communicated. What is this thing? You have to monetize this capacity that you have created. Otherwise, the easiest way to monetize this capacity is by cutting headcount, right? So I think in that front, from an organization perspective, I think we have to relook at that. And for us as professionals in the accountancy space, I would still say that one of the risks that I'm seeing right now is as the use of technology is more inherent in everything that we are using, right? The example that Prof has given in terms of someone who doesn't know Python, right? Getting ChatGPT to come up with a Python code. Now, my sort of like playing the devil's advocate here, right, is really, by getting someone who doesn't know Python, right, to generate a Python code out from ChatGPT, there is a risk in the sense that you do not know the blind spot in terms of what ChatGPT has produced, right? If it's like surface a problem that we are trying to solve, I think that's fine. But as it gets more complicated, as you embed more and more lines of codes into whatever that's being executed, there lies a risk in terms of someone who doesn't know Python, right, in executing that Python sort of code. So I think taking that back into the field of accountancy, I believe that the basics in accountancy will always be needed, right? So the risk really is that the use of technology, what I've seen in the younger professionals is because a lot of things is actually now being used, done by technology. They are losing sight a little bit in terms of why we do certain work in our accounting work, whether in audit, whether in our financial reporting. And I think we need to get this right? While we, as Prof. David was advocating, right, using AI to augment what it is that we are doing, you can't augment something that you yourself do not know how it's actually being produced. So I think as accountants, it's very important to still get the basics right. So I think there is still a role for us to play. And as from the study that I've cited, right, chartered accountants in the context of Singapore, and I believe in the rest of ASEAN as well, it continues to be one of the most trusted professions out there. So in that sense, this profession is definitely not going away. I mean, we have seen how accounting has changed from pen and paper to computers to Excel to SQL. We were talking about data visualization 2-3 years before, and now to Gen AI and all that. we are still here. ACCA is still here and it's still growing. It's still 260,000 members strong, or 275, and it continues to grow. So I don't think our profession is going away, but in terms of what we are doing, right, we need to probably define it, ourselves, right, so that we don't get ourselves replaced by AI.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe my views. Of course, we sometimes tend to differ, but the end conclusion is the same. Let me explain. Of course, these questions a lot of my students also ask me, right? But it's not only accounting. It's every single profession, whether you like it or not. Engineering, architecture. You go and try today in ChatGPT. I mean, not ChatGPT. Try in Gemini to ask you to draw an architect layout diagram for your house. It will draw for you. Architect's job is at risk, right? So just to come back to this accounting profession, since many of you are here accountants, there's a study done by OpenAI, right, which is a creator of ChatGPT, and the University of Pennsylvania, and they said that the accounting is 100% exposure to AI, which means that it can replace 100% of your task. I use the word task. I didn't use the word job, right? So what it means, okay, is that a lot of the work done by accountants today will be taken over by AI. Just like what happened, as I think Chong, you mentioned that we started off pen and pencil, then Excel sheets, tables. I mean, we moved on, and now AI is coming to do a lot of the computing stuff, all right? I mean, calculation, all the preparation reports and all that AI can do. But this is where I think all profession, we need to move to a higher level of cognitive ability, okay, of the task. All right. So we talked about, okay, if you look at the pyramid structure of a business structure, we have the operational level, tactical level, and strategic level. The earlier on with the programming and all that, it came into the blue collar job, and it shrunk the operational number of people. Now it is going to shrink the white collar jobs, so executive level, the middle layer, tactical level. So we need to push people up to strategic level. So what everyone have to do, like accountants or engineers or whoever, they need to move themselves up to a more and a cognitive ability or strategic abilities, okay, of the profession. What it means by, okay, you say that, okay, you have a more strategic, doesn't mean everybody's a CEO, CFO, etc. It means that more innovation, more creativity, more new products, design, etc. So this is what is needed. So if you look at company like Cisco and Google and many other companies, even in Huawei, if you take Cisco, Huawei, they produce one switch every week. That means switch is the network equipment switch. All right, every week. And you know how many people are in the strategic level? Cisco has about probably 2,000 to 3,000 PhDs doing research. Huawei has about another 6,000 PhD doing research on product improvement, product design, etc. So that's what I mean by moving people up, all right, and leave all the repetitive tasks, operational calculation, all that to AI. So that's what we're going to see, all right. So well, the number of people required in any profession will reduce as we move towards a more higher level of cognitive ability. So that's what's going to happen. So I think it will not completely replace. Yes, the task will be replaced, but we need to move on to another level.
Yeah, that's a powerful reflection, Prof. Fundamentally, the meaning of work is changing, and the ask of work is at those higher level cognitive tasks. So the challenge is on us to graduate to that ask, and that's a good challenge to have. I think it's a great note to end this on. We are actually just coming up to time, but I want to say a massive thanks to you, Prof. and Chong Yu-T. This has been a fascinating discussion. Thoroughly enjoyed and learned so much. We do have one or two other questions, but unfortunately we're just coming up to time, which is perfectly fine. But I appreciate that we got to ask that one question, because it's the one on all of our hearts and minds, isn't it, Prof?
There's a lot of interesting questions, but again, time limits.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. With that, I would like to say another thank you to both of you and to our audience. This has been a great discussion. Thank you for your engagement. And I want to hand back to yourself, Monica. Over to you.
Okay, to ladies and gentlemen, before we close our today webinar, let us hear the closing from our Executive Director, Bapak Januarto Alamsyah.
Thank you, Monica. So as we conclude this crucial AFA and ACCA AI webinar, bringing AI technology to bear, I hope the past hours have served as powerful spark for change in your professional lives. I must once again thank our exceptional speakers, Dean Hezekiah, T. Chong Yu, and Professor Dr. David Asirvatham, for navigating us through way is truly a tsunami of change. If we distill the rich discussion we had, a clear message emerges for every professional in this room. Firstly, the bullish outlook on AI's impact. We established that accounting is 100% exposed to AI, but let's be crystal clear, we are talking about tasks, not jobs. The era of the skeptical person behind the machine has arrived. We are entering a new interaction with AI, where tools, especially generative AI trained on specific areas like accounting and auditing, will become our daily reality or our sparring partner, which is really nicely said. This is why we must embrace a bullish view on our future. AI enables the reallocation and redeployment of our tight human resources, freeing up significant capacity currently wasted on routine tasks like report preparation. This freedom is not an end itself, it's the gateway to value-adding stuffs. Secondly, moving to the next cognitive level. The most important insight shared today is the imperative to move on to the next level. The days of monkey sees, monkey does are over, where people trying to use AI just randomly. While AI can instantly generate something like a Python code snippet, our professional mandate is to know what we are doing and what it is for. That's just for the example. This demand a crucial shift. We need to elevate to higher level cognitive skills and embrace more creativity. Our role transitions entirely into one that requires human oversight, critical judgment, strategic direction, and ethical governance. The value of the accountant is now defined by the complex problems we solve, not the basic inputs we process. Thirdly, the commitment and the call to action. AFA, in collaboration with ACCA and our other partners, is dedicated to ensuring you are equipped for this next level. Our collective commitment is to provide the resources and guidance that empower you to not just survive, but to thrive in this transformed landscape. So, I leave you with a final call to action. Start small. Begin utilizing these new AI interactions to free up even a fraction of your time. Be the skeptic. Never delegate your professional judgment to the machine. Ensure you understand. Again, you understand the underlying principles and purpose behind the AI's output. Invest in the human. Don't forget. Recognize that your greatest competitive advantage is your creativity and cognitive ability. I think this is, this is the first that need to emphasize, and I think all our decent speakers are agree with this. Invest time in developing the skills which no algorithm can replicate. And finally, thank you again for your time, engagement, and commitment to the future of our profession. Let us all work together to successfully bring AI technology to bear, elevating our roles and delivering unprecedented value to our economies. Good day, and I look forward to seeing the incredible innovations you create. Thank you. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you very much for Pak Toto for your closing remarks. To all participants, we kindly invite you to complete our post-event survey, which will also serve as a requirement for your certificate eligibility. You may check on the QR post on the screen, or perhaps you may also visit the bit.ly link that we have posted also on the screen and on the chat box later. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we also would like to invite you to join the 24th AFA conference. It will be hosted in hybrid session. The in-person will be hosted in Hanoi, Vietnam. But we also would like to invite you to join us as online participant. We will post this event on AFA LinkedIn, Twitter, and email blast. On behalf of AFA and ACCA, we would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to all of our panelists, moderator, and participants for being part of today's session. We truly appreciate your time and participation, and we hope this discussion will provide valuable insight and inspiration for your professional journey. My name is Monica Nabilia, and it has been a great pleasure serving you as the host. Thank you, and we look forward to welcoming you again at our future event. Thank you.